Guys, welcome to Media Breakdown. First things up, Suicide Squad. We're going to take a look at it, let you know what we think. So obviously first things first, guys, that's obviously the White House. Looks like there's going to be some sort of meeting going on at the White House or Capitol Hill. So see what happens there.
Gentlemen, ladies.
Now this is obviously the White House. There's a meeting between what I'm guessing is the Air Force or the military. Maybe obviously the head of the White House and maybe Joint Chiefs or something along those lines. And they're basically just talking about what if Superman came down and basically ripped the president out of the White House. Now, first of all, I hate this because I don't think Superman would have done that. But it obviously goes through and explains the paranoia and the fear that the American military has regarding these super people, these, Superman, there's Wonder Woman, all these sort of. And I'm guessing this sort of pops in after the Batman versus Superman fiasco. I'm guessing that's on the timeline. So this is probably more likely going to be, like what if we have another one of those incidents? Who's going to save us sort of like attitude.
What if Superman?
Now, obviously, the first shot is of Margot Robbie, obviously playing as Dr. Harley Quinzel, or who later becomes Harley Quinn. This is obviously once she's been transformed by, I presume, obviously the Joker, as long as they stay true to the law. Looking a little bit nuts, as she is in the movie, which is, it's always a little bit fun. But obviously she's some sort of cell or something along those lines. Obviously the military have her, of caught her or something along those lines. Maybe they might go into the backstory, hopefully. Explain, how the Joker made her, what made her get captured, maybe flashbacks or something along those lines. So that'll be interesting.
I decided to fly down.
Now this is obviously our first shot at Killer Croc, or the character Waylon Jones. I'm not going to try and pronounce the actor's last name. He's an interesting thing, guys. This is all like prosthetics. It's not CGI or anything along those lines. So that's all completely physical, actual effects. No CGI involved, which is obviously great because it does make it a lot more believable, and it looks freaking amazing too. He looks really, really good. Now, another interesting thing, guys, this is actually his cell. So it looks like they've catered for him a little bit. Looks like there's a bit of a swamp area. Looks like there's like some crypts or something that he can lay in, some sort of old sort of crypt style bed. And then looks like there's actually bones and flesh in that, because he is a cannibal, hanging from the actual left-hand corner. So that's obviously definitely interesting as well. So they're not, they're keeping them in prison, but they're looking after them. They're not starving them or anything along those lines. So, they might be killers, but at least they're being well cared for, I suppose.
Rip off the roof of the White House.
Now in this, guys, we actually get to see our first very shot of El Diablo, who's played by the character in there by Chanto Cianta, or by the actor Jade Harrimans. Guys, El Diablo is actually supposed to be a character who is possessed by a devil. So not sure if they're going to go that far into the lore, or if they're just going to make him some sort of superhuman, metahuman, or something along those lines. But he does have the ability to control fire. I was a little bit worried when I first heard about this, like, this could go very, very horribly wrong. However, through the course of the trailer, you see he actually does come in quite handy, and he is actually quite able to hold his own. So that's obviously definitely interesting, and quite a cool shot too, by the way.
Grab the president right out of the Oval Office.
So obviously, guys, first shot of Will Smith, who does play Deadshot. Anybody that knows the DC universe knows that he this character was in Arrow a couple of times. Obviously they brought him back for this movie. Obviously it wasn't being played by Will Smith, but that character was pretty well done back then, so I have high hopes for Deadshot. He's kind of a lovable rogue, I suppose, but we'll just have to see how he goes through the movie and see if he pulls it off or not.
Who would have stopped him?
Now, of course, this whole prelude is basically them saying, hey, look, what if Superman had done this? Who would have stopped him? Obviously, the answer is, well, sure as hell not these guys, no offense, but it's Superman. But, hey, this is humanity's last line of defense, I suppose. Still have a problem with them going on about Superman doing this, You know, like, why the hell would Superman rip the president out of the Oval Office unless he did something very, very wrong, in which case he probably deserves it. But look, getting past that point, obviously, you know, they're just outlining the fact that this is a force that's needed, because the fact that we don't have any defense against these superhumans that are appearing every now and then. So you can kind of see why they're a little bit scared, because, you know, hey, they're powerless. They got Superman battling other people and destroying half the city. So, you know. Now, obviously, everybody's favourite, playing with the Warner Brothers logo, converting it to the DC Comics with the whole Joker outline. Obviously, we all know the Joker is going to be in this movie somewhere along the line. He does obviously appear later, but love what they did with the whole laughing and the turning of it. It looks really, really freaking cool. Really, really creative way that, well, Warner Brothers has done this. And this is obviously not the first group of people that have changed the logo or done something with the logo. Obviously, the colours are very Jokery colours. You know, the green and the reds, obviously, for the Joker. You know, obviously, everybody loves playing with the logo. These guys have just done a really, really good job with it. Now, guys, obviously, in this shot, you see the doctors. You obviously just saw some of the Suicide Squad being rounded up. I'm presuming this is obviously when they're going to get their exploders. Obviously, the only way the military can control these guys is by saying, do what we say or your head explodes. Obviously, self-preservation is going to kick in. They're going to be like, okay. So that's obviously what they're leading up to, is obviously just getting everybody ready to put these little explodey thingies in their head.
I want to build a team of some very...
Now, guys, obviously our first shot of Slipknot here. This guy actually shoots a rope from his arm or something along those lines. A little bit worried about that. Think he might be the expendable person in the group. Let's face it, if someone's going to die, it's going to be probably him or Boomerang. So maybe we should start a pool on who's going to die first.
Bad people who I think can do some good.
Y'all jokers must be crazy.
Now, obviously, this is just, guys, the team all gearing up, getting themselves into gear. You know, obviously, Deadshot getting his guns, etc., etc., etc. Interesting choice of music that's happening here at the moment. If you actually look at the lyrics, it's all about how someone's not important to somebody. They're just a toy. They're just a thing that somebody can play with. Obviously, going through and talking about how the Suicide Squad feels about the government. I presume, obviously, it's supposed to mean that obviously the Suicide Squad feels like they're just a toy. There's something that the government just plays with and doesn't really care about. And it's sort of echoing that sort of sentiment through the whole movie trailer. Okay, I swear I didn't pause it on this because you get to see Margot wearing a pair of boy shorts, okay? Don't judge. But the reason I actually stopped on here, because there's actually a little bit of controversy about this. Margot Robbie has actually come out and said she's wearing hot pants because they're sparkly and fun. Which, I admit, they look fun. Yeah. Don't judge me, okay? I'm a guy, don't judge.
What?
Guys, I'm suspecting this is going to be Rick Flag. Now, for anyone that doesn't know, Rick Flag is actually the division leader for the Suicide Squad for the military side of it. Obviously, Task Force X has two sides, the military side and the civilian side. Obviously, civilian is the Suicide Squad. Task Force X, the military agent in charge, is actually Rick Flag, and I'm presuming that's who that is. You actually get to see him in a couple of shots too. Just a wild hunch, that's who I'm thinking that is.
This is the deal. You disobey me.
Now, interesting shot, guys. Obviously, you got Croc, you got Diablo, and then on the very end, you just get to see a smidgen of Will Smith's character, I'm presuming is Deadshot, with the whole black and red. I'm guessing that's going to be Deadshot in his armor. Obviously, we can't see his face, and it does cut before you see it, which is a little bit annoying, but I'm guessing that's going to be Deadshot because of the whole, what he was in Marvel, so maybe.
You die.
And there, guys, is our first shot of Slipknot, obviously getting up to a high position so he can shoot somebody or snipe somebody or whatever it may be. Just obviously using the ropes, but someone obviously forgot to put the ropes in as CGI. Whoopsie.
Try to escape, you die.
And guys, obviously our first shot at Captain Boomerang here. Boy, God, I hope they don't do that wrong. Okay, so I'm a little bit worried about a guy that throws boomerangs at people. Look, obviously it's been done before and it's been done okay, but I just worry it's going to come across as extremely corny or stupid. And from Australia, I really hope they don't stuff that character up. Also, probably the second most expendable character in the show. So, you know, I wonder if he's going to survive or not. But hey, who knows? Maybe. Let's see. Let's hope. Now, obviously, guys, this is our first shot of Katana. She is in the DC Comics as superhuman. She's proficient in martial arts and carries an enchanted sword. So she alternates between a hero and a villain, but generally is a heroic character. So I presume in this, obviously, she's going to come in and try and save people or try and help her out, hopefully. Who knows? She is a bit of a wild card because she does switch sides a bit. Now, for anybody that hasn't also realised, this is the same Katana that is actually in Arrow, where she's actually an ally to Oliver Queen. She's the one where her husband ran off and joined the Shadow League, and she actually helps Oliver out a few times. So she's generally a good character, so you probably should see her on the hero side of this movie as well.
You got a boyfriend? You irritate or vex me.
I'm known to be quite vexing. I'm just forewarning you.
You.
Obviously, during the course of this scene, you see Rick Flag basically just outlining, saying, you know, you step out of line, poof, your head goes boom. Funny thing between this whole thing is Margot Robbie's character is actually sitting there making jokes. Probably one of the funniest lines you'll probably hear in the trailer. It's just funny, her reaction and just saying, look, you know, she just doesn't really give a shit. Here's a guy saying, I'm going to kill you every time you step out of line. And here she is making jokes about it. So it's actually quite a funny line, actually.
If they get caught, we throw them on the...
Anybody obviously understands this is the part where they're explaining how these guys are expendable. You know, obviously if they get caught, we're just going to throw them under the bus. Outlines the whole sort of overtone to the song, saying, hey, you know, look, you're expendable, get over it. You know, how the songs are basically going on about how you're a toy. And the songs are, you don't own me. Just basically saying I'm my own person, etc., etc. Interesting side point for this too. Also, this character was in DC Comics with Arrow, but they chose to actually put a different actress for the character. I don't know why they didn't use the same one. I would have liked to have seen them use the same one for a little bit of continuity between the TV show world and the movie world. That would have been interesting, but for some reason they changed it.
the bus.
Now, obviously, in this shot, you get to see the guys going in, the Suicide Squad going in. I presume this is their helicopter being shot at. We're not sure by who, but I could pretty much guess it's going to be the Joker's crew. Looks like it's like 50mm cannons or something like that they're firing at them, so obviously we don't know. But obviously the Suicide Squad are going in, and they're going in hot, so to speak. Basically, they're just crashing, so it'd be interesting to see if anybody dies in the helicopter crash or if they all just manage to walk away. We'll have to see.
What a ride!
Obviously here we get to see after the helicopter's crashed, obviously it looks like, you know, Harley Quinn's fine. There's a few people in the background, look like they're all fine, so that's good news. Although you don't really expect them to die before the battle scene anyway.
Let's play.
Come on, got some better...
Now guys, obviously during that scene you get to see a little bit of action, get to see Harley firing her guns, Deadshot, Croc. This scene itself, for our pause, looks like it's a little bit of a Sodom sort of down sort of scene. You know, it's like Harley Quinn sort of picking everybody up saying, come on, you got anything else to do? Looks like the guys are a little bit beat, maybe it's after some bad news or something along those lines. Just have to wait to find out what happens there. But it looks like it's sort of a down point in the movie itself. Now I know that scene was pretty quick, but you get to see Katana running and charging at somebody. You also get to see Deadshot in his full getup, excluding the mask. Kind of like it actually. It kind of looks pretty cool. Will Smith's done a badass character in this. Get to see him firing all his guns that he's got strapped to him and everything like that. So that looks kind of cool too. And they've done a good job on his costume. Looks really good. Looks like they're in sort of the final scenes where they're shooting somebody or taking out the enemy or whoever it may be.
I love this guy.
Now here guys, you actually get to see what looks like the bad guy. And the weird thing is that they look like they're not normal. So I doubt you're going to be fighting normal, everyday people. They look like they're stone or they're ash or something along those lines. So something's obviously gone horribly wrong to make these sort of monsters, or someone has made them. I'm not sure if it's the Joker or somebody else, but definitely looks like they're going to be the bad guys. Just wanted to pause on this because you actually get to see what looks like Boomerang. Actually, holding a pink unicorn, which is cool. But also attacking the bad guy, and you actually get to see it there like they're pieces of glass or they're stone or something along those lines. So just putting back to my original comment that was just before. Shot here of a subway, train, something going horribly wrong. You don't get to see it any more clearly. So that'll be interesting, obviously. Find out what the hell's going on with that. Looks like something bad. First shot at Enchantress, and the interesting thing, guys, here, the effects that are around her look a lot like those guys. So maybe she makes the bad guys in this show. Not quite sure on that. So that would mean that she's actually a villain. But yeah, it definitely looks interesting, and it definitely looks similar to those bad guys that we just saw them attacking. So not sure what's going on there, but it looks like it might be her troops. Maybe she teams up the Joker, something along those lines. Maybe, who knows? We'll find out.
Not good.
Now, obviously, our first shot, guys, at the Joker. I love this look. Look, don't get me wrong. I loved Heath Ledger in the Joker. He was amazing. But this looks really good as well. So definitely interested to see how the Joker goes, and if he's going to be as whacked as he always was in the movies. So going to love that.
Don't forget, we're the bad guys.
Lovely shot there of Harley Quinn holding her mallet. You don't get to see her earlier in the clip holding it, so I'm guessing it's something that she picks up towards the end. It always was a part of her costume and her getup, so I'm guessing that she finds it later. Who knows, maybe she stops at a carnival or something along the lines. Hey, that's it. Harley Quinn meets the Joker at a carnival. But yeah, it looks like she's picked it up somewhere along the line with the great old smiley face on the front of it. So definitely she hopes she gets to keep that. And I'm glad they put it in too, because it was always part of her lore and her legend.
Are you sweet talking me?
In this scene, guys, you actually get to see Batman. That is the Batmobile in the background, and that's a blonde. Speculation, spoiler, guys, I'm guessing this is right after Harley meets the Joker and actually becomes Harley Quinn. That I am guessing is right after a transformation, and Batman actually saves her. We do know Batman is actually in the movie for a small part, and I am guessing that is what's going to happen there.
All of that chit-chat.
And guys, first shot, Katana using the enchanted sword. Apparently this sword actually takes souls. So it'd be interesting to see what actually that she does with that, or if she can use it against any of the enemy. They seem to be stone, so I wouldn't guess they have a soul, but hey.
I get you hurt.
First shot there, guys, of Harley actually being thrown off a building, and then Batman diving. But if I actually stop it for you, you don't actually get to see Harley in the background. So I'm guessing that's just a camera shot trick. It's just an editing trick to make you think that he's diving after her. I'm guessing that originally it's probably Batman getting away from the Joker or going after the Joker. And then the first shot is actually Harley being thrown off a building, probably by the Joker towards the end of the movie. She looks fully transformed there, so I'm not quite sure, but we'll have to find out. Guys, this I'm going to say is Harley Quinn's transformation at the start of the film, or a flashback of how she becomes Harley Quinn. I presume obviously there the Joker has thrown her off the building to transform her. That is what I'm guessing has happened, and like I said, it's probably a flashback. I'm guessing this is pretty early on the character's evolution, because of the fact that she's still dressed up like the Doctor there. Guys, I'm guessing this is the evolution or the history or the storyline of the Enchantress. The backstory was that the Enchantress was actually formed by a girl who was a cliff diver or a cave diver, comes across this old area, and actually the possession or the spirit of this witch goes and jumps into her. So I'm guessing that's what that's all about. Good side of this is obviously we're going to find the backstory of the Enchantress. We might even get a little bit of history on that. So that's great as well. So it's not just going to be a case of who the hell is this girl and what does she do. Now here guys is obviously our first shot of the minions of the Joker. Well, I'm guessing they're the minions of the Joker. After all, there's a guy with a giant eyeball on his head. Who else would it be? So I'm guessing they're the Joker's minions.
What you gonna do? You wanna see something? Yo, I wanna see something? Yes, I wanna see something!
Now what we just saw there guys was Deadshot, or Will Smith's character, firing up El Diablo, trying to get him mad for some reason, obviously so he can do this great big flaming thing. Obviously his anger is the source of the flame or the possession, so obviously needing to get mad for some reason, probably to take out some men.
I was just trying to get you there. You know hard feelings, right? We good.
What you having?
Beer.
Whiskey.
What am I, 12?
How about you, hot stuff?
Probably the second funniest line in the movie. I love that one actually. Harley Quinn's obviously serving everybody drinks. What he asks the guy that basically sets everybody on fire. Obviously you don't want to go giving him alcohol. What does he want? Water. So great choice.
That's a good idea, honey.
And obviously guys, just the date that's coming out. Look, really pumped for this guys. It looks frigging nuts. Looks like a really good movie. You know, considering the superhero movies that we've had lately with Avengers and Batman vs Superman and everything, I think Warner Brothers has done a really good job of not only putting this trailer together, but also doing a good job on the movie itself. So I've got high expectations for this, which I know is a danger, because if I get high expectations and the movie sucks, I'm going to absolutely come home and fillet it. But guys, look, yeah, it definitely looks really good. I love all the characters. I definitely think they pulled them all off. A little bit worried about Slipknot and Boomerang, whether they're going to hang around or if they're going to get killed off. But hey guys, let me know in the comment section below, what are your thoughts on those two guys? Do you reckon any of those guys are going to die, or who do you think will die in the movie? Love to see the Enchantress, the Joker, and what the hell happened with that subway train. No idea about that. I want to see that. But guys, look, hit us up in the comment section below. Apart from that guys, enjoy, have a great night, and hopefully Suicide Squad is as good as the trailer. Have a great night guys, enjoy.